Hello, thank you for tuning in to Unlimited. I'm Walter from Unlimited, and this is your Wrestlemania 18 throwback review. Wrestlemania 18 had a lot to live up to after the spectacle that was Wrestlemania 17. Wrestlemania 17 was solid front to back. Would Wrestlemania 18 live up? Let's see. We kick off the show one-on-one for the Intercontinental title. Rob Van Dam, William Regal. Didn't get a ton of time, only 6 minutes, 19 seconds, but still a decent match. RVD won, capturing the Intercontinental title. And then we had a singles match for the European title, DDP versus Christian. The storyline leading up to this was pretty entertaining. It was Christian losing his mind and throwing a childlike fit anytime he would lose, and DDP doing his motivational speaker shtick, and then leading up to it, Christian turned on Paige, which led to this match. So again, sub 10-minute match, but this one was pretty good. Pretty good for being so short. DDP got the win after a diamond cutter, which is really nice. DDP got a win in his only WrestleMania match, and it was for a title, even though it was the pretty irrelevant European title. But yeah. And then we have Maven versus Goldust for the Hardcore title, which ended when Spike Dudley came in and pinned Maven. And then we had the rest of the Hardcore title stuff, which included Mighty Molly winning, which included the Hurricane winning, which I believe then ended with, I think Crash or Spike ended up leaving with it. I don't remember. But yeah, there was a whole big set of backstage stuff with the Hardcore title, and that was entertaining. Kurt Angle defeated Kane, botched finish, but still an okay match. The most underrated streak match of all time. The Undertaker versus Ric Flair. This match was what it had to be. Taker dominating Ric Flair for the vast majority of the match, except for those few little times. Flair would post his comeback and he would push forward and he would make you think that sliver of opportunity was gonna hit and we were gonna see Ric Flair end the streak. The moment when Arn comes in and hits Undertaker with a spine buster, you think that's it. Flair's winning. But he doesn't. Tombstone. Taker wins. Edge versus Booker T. This was a feud over shampoo. Moving on. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Scott Hall. This is the match we got instead of Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan. Austin won. Moving on. Billy and Chuck versus the APA versus the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys in a 4-way elimination match for the tag team titles. Billy and Chuck won, as would be expected. Billy and Chuck were the new team on the scene. All three of the other teams ended up being broken up just about a week later in the draft. Bradshaw would go to Raw, Farouk would go to SmackDown, Bubba Ray would go to Raw, Devon would go to SmackDown, and, well, eventually the Hardys would be split up because they stayed on Raw together for a while, then Matt went to SmackDown. So, by the next WrestleMania, none of these teams will have stayed together. I mean, the Dudleys ended up coming back together because they realized that Devon couldn't really cut it on his own. Which, that's fine. Devon's more of a tag team guy. That's not a knock against him. Then we have the one match this show is famous for. Icon versus Icon. Legend versus Legend. The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. 2 seconds into this match, you knew it did not go the way they thought it would. Because they had been building Hogan up as this despicable heel. He ran a semi-truck into an ambulance where The Rock was held in. He beat The Rock with a wrench. But Toronto didn't care. They loved him. And so they flipped the script. Rock starts working heel. Hogan does his babyface shtick, which Hogan wasn't going to not do his babyface shtick. Hogan had too much of an ego to not actively try and get the crowd behind him. Which it was his way of politicking his way to the world title run he got the next month. So take with that what you will, but the atmosphere was electric. And they held onto every move those two did. No matter how medial, no matter how otherwise meaningless it would be without that reaction, it made it edge of your seat worthy television. It is not a 5-star classic in the ring from any standpoint, but from a pure spectacle. Like, just hearing how much the fans were invested in this, that's worth watching it for. And The Rock ended up going over. Shockingly, Hogan put someone over, like, call the presses. And then after the match, the NWO come out and turn on Hogan, which wasn't supposed to happen for months down the line. But they ended up calling an audible because they knew they couldn't keep Hogan heel. And then we have Jazz versus Lita versus Trish Stratus for the women's title, and you don't put over the hometown girl. Why would you? Why have a feel-good moment? Anyway, main event, Triple H versus Chris Jericho. This was doomed. It had to follow less than 10 minutes after, or maybe a little longer after Hogan Rock. They weren't going to follow it. The crowd was dead. They tired themselves out cheering for that match. They zapped all their energy in that match. And from a technical standpoint, the match was fine. The match was good. But the crowd weren't into it. And when the crowd's not into it, it doesn't come off good on TV. Triple H wins. Goes on to lose to Hogan the next month. It's really a case of where they should have known that this was one of the times the title should not main event. But hindsight is 2020. Thank you for watching. I have been Walter from Unlimited. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, join the Facebook group page for Unlimited, follow us on Twitter @UnlimitedOne, and until next time, I will see you all later.